Good morning, ma'am. My name is Afrar Mujardin and my registration number is 2024 ICTS 90. Today I am going to give a presentation about data types and type casting in Java. In this presentation, I will explain what data types are, the different types of data types in Java, and what type casting means. I will also explain the two main types of type casting, which are widening casting and narrowing casting with simple Java example. So let's begin my presentation. First, let's understand what a data type is. A data type tells Java what type of value a variable can store. For example, a program may need to store a number, a character, some text or true or false value. Java use different data types for these different kind of value. For example, int age equal 20, double price equal 99.5, char grade equal a, boolean is passed true. An integer is used to store a whole number. Double is used to store a decimal number. Char is used to store a single character. And boolean is used to store a true or false value. So data type is help Java understand what kind of data we are working with. Java data types are mainly divided into two categories. The first category is a primitive data types. The second category is a non-primitive data types. So, primitive data types include byte, short, int, long, float, double, char, boolean. Non-primitive data types include string, array, classes, object. So the main difference is that Java provides these two characters to represent different kind of information in a program. Now let's talk about integer data type. Integer data types are used to store whole number. The integer data types shown in my presentation are byte, short, integer and long. For example, byte x equal 10, short y equal 100, int age equal 20, long population equal 100,000 L. Here x is a byte value, y is a short value, age is a integer value and population is a long value. So when we want to store whole number, we can use this integer data type depending depending on the type of value we need to store. Next, let's look at decimal data type. Decimal data types are used to strong number that contain decimal value. The two data type discussed here are float and double. Float number is 5.5f equal. For example, float number equal 5.5f, double price equal 99.99. Here 5.5 is store use the float data types and 99.99 is store use the double data types. One important point is the double provided more precision than float. And therefore, both can store decimal number, but they provide different leaves for precision. Now let's discuss char and boolean. Now let's discuss char and boolean. The char data type is used to store a single character. For example, char grade equal A. Here, the character is stored in the value called grade. The next data type is a boolean. A boolean store only two values. There are true and false. For example, boolean is student true, boolean is pass false. So boolean is useful when we need to represent something that has two possible continents such as true or false. Now let's move to the second main part of my presentation, which is typecasting. What is typecasting? Typecasting means converting a value for one data types to another data types. There are two main types of casting. There are number one widening casting, number two narrowing casting. Widening casting means converting a smaller data types into a larger data type. Narrowing casting means converting a largest data type into a long data type. Now I will explain both types with example. First, let's look at widening casting. Widening casting means converting a smaller data type into a largest data type. One important things about widening casting is that it happens automatically. For example, int number equal 10, double value equal number. System.out.print bracket into value here. So here that variable number is a integer. The variable number is a integer. There is a value is assigned to a double value. Java automatically convert the integer value into a double value. The output is 10.0. So in simple terms, int scroll double. This is an example of widening casting. Now let's look at narrowing casting. Narrowing casting means converting a long data types into a smaller data types. Unlike widening casting, narrowing casting must be done manually. For example, double number equal 9.78, int value equal int number, system out print value. Her number is a double. We convert into an integer using. This output is 9. Notice that the decimal point 0.78 is removed. So when we convert that double variable 9.78 into an integer, that results become 9. That results become a 9. Therefore, narrowing casting can result in loss of data. Now let's coming widening casting and narrowing casting. Now let's compare widening casting and narrowing casting. Within casting, convert small data type to long data type. It's happen automatically and is considered safe. For example, int to double. Narrowing casting convert large data types to small data type. It must be done manually and data may be lost. For example, double to int. So the main difference is widening is automatic, will narrowing is manual, and narrowing may lose some data, especially the decimal part. Now I will explain a compare Java example. Now I will explain in complete Java example. The code is that first we care an integer value called number 1 and give in the value 100. Then we assigning number 1 to the double variable number 2. This is widening casting because Java automatically convert the integer into a double. The output is 100.0. Next, we care a double variable called price with the value 99.99. Then we manually convert into an integer because this is narrowing casting. That decimal part is removed. Therefore, the second output is 99. So, this simple single example demonstrate both widening casting and narrowing casting. Now I would like to conclude my presentation. Today I am explained data type and types casting in Java. First, we learning the data types tell Java what type of value a variable can store. Java data types are mainly divided into primitive and non-primitive data types. We also discusses in integer, decimal, character and boolean data type. Then we learn about type Then we learn about type casting. There are two main types: widening casting and narrowing casting. Widening casting is automatically and convert a smaller data type into a largest data type. Narrowing casting is a manual and convert a largest data type into a smaller data type. Narrowing casting may cause some data to be lost, such as the decimal part of a number. That is the end of my presentation. Thank you, ma'am, for listening to my presentation. Thank you.